This demonstration is to show you how to work the Tunisian knit stitch. As you can see from the sample in front here, the fabric looks like a knit stitch, but is in fact crocheted, Tunisian crochet. So we're going to start with a chain, and you have to do a foundation row. So I'm going to work my foundation row. I've done 10 chain. I've already got loop on the needle, on the hook. So I now need to pick up another 9 loops. And if you work through the back bumps rather than through the top edge, it gives you a nice neat chain edge at the bottom of your crochet. If you choose to go into the top loop of your chain, that works just as well. It just gives you a different finish, so it's just about consistency. I should now have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 stitches. It is always a good idea to keep an eye on the number of stitches you've got to make sure you haven't lost any along the way. So again, we're starting with a foundation row and a return pass. So we work chain 1 and then yarn, round hook and pull through 2. So when the foundation row is completed, the stitch pattern has not yet been defined. So as I start working the next row, it defines what stitch this first row is. And we're going to be working the knit stitch this time. So I've got 1 stitch on my hook, so we miss the first vertical bar. And then I'm going to go into the stitch between the 2 legs of the loop. So I go from front to back and pull a loop through, front to back and pull a loop through the centre of the 2 vertical loops, front to back and pull a loop through. When we get to the end of the row, you just work a standard chain at the edge. So I want to get under both halves of the end chain and pull a loop through. I just pull off some more yarn and then work a standard return pass, which is yarn over, pull through 1 and then yarn over and pull through 2 until we get back to only having 1 stitch on the hook. So again, the forward pass, miss the first stitch, so we're going into the centre of the loop from front to back, all the way along the row. Sometimes you might want to sort of pull up on it a little bit if you feel you're doing things a bit tightly. You don't want to work Tunisian crochet too tightly, so it's sometimes a good idea to just give it a bit of a tug. I've got to the last stitch again, so I need to find my chain at the end here and pull through. Again, to try and help keep this end stitch reasonably loose, I pull down below that end loop as I work my yarn overhook pull through one, and then I can just work the normal return pass. Back to the beginning again. So we do the next row. Again, it can be helpful at the beginning of a row to pull the second stitch a little bit tighter to try and tighten up the end loop. Because this loop is on the needle all the time, it does tend to cause the end stitch, the right hand end stitch, to stretch a little bit. So if you can pull it a bit tighter and then loosen off the rest of the stitches, it helps to keep the edges of your Tunisian crochet more even. I've got to the end, so I need to find my loop at the end here, which sometimes looks a bit difficult because it crosses over. So it is actually, that's the end chain, and then again round the hook and pull through one, round the hook and pull through two. Just pull a bit more yarn off. I'll work one more row. So again, we miss the first stitch into the centre of the second stitch, and if you want to tighten up a little bit now and then just carry on normally for the rest of the row through the centre of the stitch from front to back, and get to the end of the row, we work a normal chain at the end. And then again, yarn round hook, pull through one, and then round the hook and pull through two. So that's the knit stitch. I'll just bring the sample back over, the bigger sample, to show. It makes a solid fabric that looks like knitting. The Tunisian knit stitch.